will start by introducing the first chapter of the course, which is on cloud computing concepts and architecture. Uh, just to mention that I adopted the slides from the Huawei Cloud Computing course, which is HCIA Cloud Computing Security for Huawei. So that implies that by the time we cover the content of the course, you can actually be able to take the exam with Huawei, and hopefully with what you have learned in this course, you will be able to pass the HCIA Cloud Computing course for the Huawei. So I adopted their slides in order to teach for this course. In addition, I will try to request from Huawei, because I'm a certified instructor with Huawei. So I will request if they can open for you a free voucher to take the exams at the end of the course. This is not a guarantee, but I will try my best. In case if they can grant us free vouchers, I will give the three of you at your free will to take the exams, basically. However, if in case they did not grant the free voucher, if you have your money, you can pay for it and take the exam so that you can as well get the Huawei certification, basically.
What's called, doctor, the certification? Also, we can do the exam without doing the course with them, yes?
Sure.
Or we have to do the course first, and then we can do the exam.
Yeah. So this is the thing. Basically, Huawei will only give you the exams to take. Okay. They have the course, and the course is not always available for. It's sometimes if they have instructor to teach, then they can teach, and
No,
then
no, it's
after
fine.
teaching
It's
they
fine.
can take the
We will learn with you. We don't need their course. I'm just asking if we can just
exam.
take the exam without doing their course. Like this will be our course, and after
And
that
then
we do the exam. Either we pay for it or voucher. Doesn't matter. But we can take the exam after this course. Yes, like we will have the
inshallah,
enough information, inshallah.
inshallah, inshallah. Also, I will try um, to adapt most of the questions from their modules so that you will also be familiar with the questions. So this way the student
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
will be more familiar with the questions, how the questions are before you take the exam. Okay? So let's go through it together. First, we want to introduce you to a very fast changing IT industry. Cloud computing technology basically introduced a lot of changes into IT, especially in terms of how IT facilities are actually shared and how storage is done, how softwares are actually being used, okay, how programming platforms are also managed. All these are part of what we call cloud services. So basically, this is the forward. In this chapter, we will try to describe for you what cloud computing is, and then describe the history of cloud computing. We will list a few use cases of cloud computing. That's some few scenarios or examples of cloud computing, and then describe characteristics of cloud computing. Okay, so these are what we hope to cover in this chapter for today. So the first section is about cloud computing. The services of cloud computing are of different types. Sometimes the services actually can change between depending on the service providers or the technology providers. Now, since we are using the Huawei cloud, I want to mention to you that the products they have for cloud services is or are what we call compute service. Okay, basically, this is where the Huawei will simply give you what we call services related to computation. If you need on-demand computation, like Elastic Cloud Server, um, what we call bare metal server, automatic scaling of your computing capacity. Basically, you can actually use this service. And of course, that's what we call image management service and cloud container engines. All these are part of the compute server. Another service that you can get in cloud in general, this is not depending on any technology or any company, is the storage. You can use cloud for storage. Actually, this is the most popular cloud service that most people know. When you talk about cloud computing, the first thing that comes to their mind is it's a facility that basically provides services for storage to the users. Like a good example is the OneDrive, Google, Google Drive, and other one, what's it called? Yeah, there are many of them.
AWS.
AWS does Amazon Web Services, yes. Also, they provide storage. Yeah, so many of them, they provide services like this for storage. Then we have actually network facilities. It's part of the services or products that you can also get in cloud. Then we have databases, we have security services, and we have application services, enterprise intelligence. All these are part of the services that you can get from cloud. The interesting thing is you may have been using cloud already without even noticing. Actually, it's not me. We are actually using cloud in all aspects of our life now without even knowing that these are cloud services. For example, you go to Google Translate, you translate a lot of other things. Google Translate is actually a cloud service provided by the Google. Okay, you back off your files from your mobile phone without even knowing. Basically, if you are using Apple, you use the Apple Store. Apple Store is a storage device, storage service provided by Apple to store your information in the cloud, such that in case if you miss your phone, if you obtain another phone, you simply need to log into your account and all your information will come back because already it's there stored for you in a cloud device. So this is for backup and storage. So we've been using this also. This is actually a cloud service. So there are other ones like the readers, okay, where you can basically read a book without necessarily reading it. Basically, it's like a voice type of service that can read books for you and you simply listen to it. So these are all cloud services. Who can think of another one? Give me another example of a cloud service that we already using or that you use every day.
Microsoft 360.
360, excellent. Yeah, Microsoft 360 is a cloud service. All your emails, all your files that moves in and out, and the different products in it, okay, are all actually stored in the cloud. So these are good examples of cloud services. So let's look at the advantages of using a cloud. In trying to use a cloud, it has numerous advantages. Number one is cloud is an on-demand service. Okay? When we say something is an on-demand service, it means that you only use it when you require it, and you pay for the number of time that you have used it. I will explain more. In the case of cloud on-demand service, it simply means that if you need a service, you go to the cloud and get the service. Okay? The cloud will calculate the number of time that you have used it, for example, for 2 hours, for 1 hour, and you simply pay for that number of time that you have used it. So this is what we call on demand. The advantage of using on-demand service is that you may need not to pay much when the service that you need is not heavy. Because, for example, if you have the need to use cloud service for the purpose of the World Cup, for example. Now, the simplest thing to think about is we need to mount a cloud facility. We need to get a cloud data center, and then we need to configure all the clouds. This is actually cost heavy, meaning it's very costly to get a cloud facilities, buy the products, and then configure all the cloud servers, and then we use it for the World Cup purpose. Now, the thing is, what happened after the World Cup? After the World Cup, you don't need it anymore. But you actually spend a lot of money on these products, buying the product, configuring it, maintaining it, and
You
then you
can
use it
rent it,
on.
Doctor.
You can rent it out, right?
Yeah, yeah,
What if you don't need if you don't get anybody that's needing the service? Okay,
yeah.
so
That's
now this
costly.
is
Yeah,
yeah. So that means that you've spent a lot of money uh, on something that is simply temporary. So the solution to this is actually to buy an on-demand service. So rather than buying the physical products for a purpose that is actually a temporary purpose, it's better for you to rent it. So you are going to rent the service and use it for only the World Cup period. After the World Cup period, you don't need it anymore. So you only pay for the time of the World Cup. So this is what we call on-demand service. On-demand service is, I need it for a short period. Okay? So I simply don't need to buy it actually. Rather, I should simply rent it. Okay? And cloud is designed in a way that is called pay-as-you-go service. So it will measure the period of time that you have used it, okay, that you demanded for it, that's on demand. And once you're done, you simply have to pay for only that period of time. Another advantage of cloud is broad network access. This is actually a very important advantage because it has a broad network asset. It means that with whichever type of network service that you are using, whether it's wireless, Wi-Fi, land, or any type of network service that you are actually using, you can actually access the cloud with it. It has broad access. The geographical location for which you want to basically access it is immaterial because you can access it from any geographical location. So it has a very wide range of access. Then we have what is called resource pooling. Resource pooling means that cloud actually is designed with the concept of what we call limitless resources. This implies that the user of cloud service will have the illusion or the impression that there is unlimited cloud services somewhere. So for example, if you need storage facility of 1 tera, you can get 1 tera. If you need 100 tera, you can get 100 tera from cloud. If you need 1 million tera, which is uh, which is a very large uh, storage space, you can get it actually because it is designed in such a way that the cloud can pull resources from different data center and provide these services to users. So this is what is called resource pooling. It gives the
It's
users the
very
illusion that
scalable.
very scalable. Actually, scalability is also one of it. Okay. Then we have rapid elasticity. Rapid elasticity means that the moment you are about to exhaust the resources assigned to you, it can be basically be increased. So that's to say it's very elastic. And while it's increased, if you, for example, when you are reaching the limits of your storage, it will simply notify you and then you can simply add more storage and then it can make it more elastic to expand the storage service that you need. Okay. So, but again, it's also at the same time measuring the service because it's based on pay as you go. So this is the next property or advantage of the cloud measured service. It measured the time that you have used it, and it also measured the capacity of what you have used. By the time you finish or before you start using it, it simply asks you for payment. Now, the thing is, many students I have encountered will ask you that, oh, but cloud is not always for pay. Well, actually, cloud is always for pay, except that if they decided to give you some few services so that you can test it. Okay. And after that, they start to charge. So think of any cloud service, Apple Store. You can have some freebies in it, but after that, they will start to ask you, oh, now you have exhausted your space, you need to pay more. Okay. Now the target is not the ordinary users. The target is actually the heavy users. And that's where the company is going to get their money. They target the heavy users. Aside from that, they try as much as possible to make it addictive by making it as user-friendly as possible so that by the time they start to ask you to make the payment, you will not resist. You will feel like, oh, this is so important to me now. I cannot afford to terminate this service. Okay, why can't I just add additional money and then I continue? So cloud computing is designed based on business model. It's a business model, basically. The end game is they want the users to start paying at the end of the day. So, cloud computing definition. By definition, sorry, I think I mixed up some of this arrangement of the slides. This supposed to come, let me see if I can quickly arrange it again. Yeah, yes. So this is the explanation, detailed explanation of the advantages. Yeah, so it's supposed to come immediately. On-demand service, broad network access, resource pooling, scalability, and measured services. Okay, so these are the advantages and basically the explanation. For scalability, we don't have any picture that basically explain it, but here is the explanation. For scalability, it gives you an illusion of an unlimited service, and you can scale up or scale down the services provisioned by the cloud, depending on your demand, basically. So we go to the definition. According to the NIST, NIST is National Institute of Standards and Technology, is one of the IT institutions in the US. They define cloud computing model as a model for enabling ubiquitous convenience and on-demand network access to a shared pool of configurable computing resources. That includes networks, servers, storage, applications, and services. All these are basically services that the cloud can actually provide that can be rapidly provisioned and released with minimal management effort or service provider interaction. So that is how they define cloud computing. Now, what are the important things that you need to remember when you need to define cloud computing? For me, I will say that you need to remember that cloud computing is an on-demand service. On-demand service, okay? And on-demand service means that you use it when you simply demand it and you pay for the number of resources or time that you have used it. Okay, and it provides different services. Okay, computing services that include network service, server storage applications, and different other application services. Another important property of cloud is it requires minimal management from the users. So you don't need to manage anything. The management of cloud, that's the cloud service providers, which are called CSP. They do the management for you while you simply use it. So this is another very important property of the cloud. The cloud computing is actually a metaphor that simply shows the abstraction of the internet. It tried to deflect or depict internet as a kind of cloud that you can simply be able to throw out anything and it will swallow it and keep it for you there. So it's an abstraction. It's like an illusion. It's a description of computing resources that try to depict the actual cloud that makes rings, basically. So what is the origin of cloud and development of cloud computing? Yeah, according to this Huawei material, the first time the cloud was born was actually far back in 1969. That's when the concept of the on-demand service basically started. but not depicted in this way because even the internet itself only becomes, well popular and well known only in the 90s. In the late 90s, basically. So ARPANET was the first model of cloud that tried to depict this model. And then we have the complete specification of the TCP and UDP protocol suites, which was established in the 1981. This is also part of the development of cloud. It gives birth to the foundation of what we have now as a cloud model. Communication through the TCP in 83. The first commercial network operator, PSINet in 89. In 86, the modern email started communicating through the emails, basically. DNS servers technology in 84. In 90, we started to have search engines. And then in 91, we start to have many officially open, the WW World Wide Web becomes more open to all users. Before, it's basically the internet is more of a way of communication for basically for companies, but it becomes a little bit more open to public in 1991. Then we start to have e-commerce platforms like Amazon, eBay in the 95, from 95. 2014, Google tried to reinforce the use of HTTPS. 2024, Facebook was launched. These are also part of the evolution of cloud. 2020, we have the .com bubble burst. Yeah, bubble burst of the .com. That's the internet basically became more popular. So it becomes actually all this is part of the internet basically, history of the internet. This is how the evolution started. So brief history of cloud computing continues here. So we have the cloud model. We have the cloud model basically that try to solve problems based on instructions that goes into a certain device. That's the computing device, that's the processor basically. But if you are using one single processor, this is actually not a very good way to solve problems that are very heavy or to carry out computation that is very heavy. Therefore, the scientists figure out that we may need sometimes more than one processor to carry out computation of many instructions or to solve problems. So the idea of parallel computing started. That is to say, if you have one problem that you want to solve, you can actually divide it into parts or into pieces and send it to a multiple processors. So we can have multiple processors here handling the instructions. And then by the time it's complete, then it can be gathered together and then you can have your complete record. This is called parallel computing. So this is actually part of how cloud computing also started. But again, there's another way. Another way is if you have a job, these jobs can be splitted and be assigned to servers, different servers. And then the computation can be done of different pieces of the job. This is quite similar to what we have here, but it's actually different. It's different in the sense that instead of using the processor, you are using something bigger. So this is called distributed computing. Then we start to have the grid. The grid is actually the first foundation before the cloud. So actually we started from parallel computing, distributed computing, then we go to grid computing, and then the cloud computing. As I always mention, the main difference between grid computing and cloud computing is the business model. Grid is not a business model. It's designed for a free service. Okay? Grid is designed for free service. But suddenly we realize that we cannot just always buy all the equipment and run a grid for a single job. So it's better we make it an on-demand service and pay for the services that we have used for the period of time that we have used it. So that's why we move away from the grid and then we come to cloud computing. Cloud computing is based on a business model. So you can see that these are business guys trying to solve problems for you. And cloud is based on a limited illusion of resources that can be pooled to basically solve any problem that you need. So basically, this is the little evolution of, the history of the cloud. But also the cloud, even after launching it, it goes through a number of changes. So the first type of cloud computing that we have actually depend more on visualization of hypervisors like Hyper-V, Xen, KVM, VMware. These are hypervisors that provide visualization services for higher resource utilization. Then it goes to the second stage of evolution of the cloud. That's where we have software-defined networks, which is called now SDNs, and also we have integration of other services together. So a good example is the OpenStack. The VMware also undergoes another evolution. Then we have the Amazon Web Services, AWS. These are cloud-based infrastructure that are standardized and based on automation of resource services. Then the last part, Cloud 3.0. This is in cloud native and is based on application redesign. Good example are Dockers, the Core OS, the Cloud Foundry. These are good examples. They are designed for cloud native applications, which can be used for agile application development and lifecycle management. For those of you that have an idea of software development or software engineering, that's what we call agile development as one of the life cycle of software application development. So all these are basically part of Cloud 3.0. So these are the three evolutions of cloud from 3.1 to 3.0. Lastly, we will discuss about cloud computing models. The models of clouds are of different types, okay? So I try to check according to Qatar's policy on cloud computing. And I found out that this document defines cloud computing models into three different types: the private cloud, the public cloud, the hybrid cloud, and the community cloud. These are the four models that are recognized by the Qatar's cloud computing policy model. How many of you have read this document? Hello, class.
Sorry, Doctor.
What is the question again, Doctor?
Question is, have you come across any document on Qatar's policy on cloud computing? It's called uh, Qatar's policy on cloud computing.
No, but I saw the CSF and cybersecurity framework for Qatar, and I know that we have with Microsoft, they are trying to push everyone to be on Azure unless they have like confidential information like C3 and above.
Okay, that's good. So basically, this document states how to use cloud services in Qatar. What are the rules that you have to follow? Okay, so I got this document, and in the document, this is how the models of cloud are defined. So we have the public cloud. The public cloud are the cloud services that we are used to, like the Google Forms, the Google Docs, okay, the Translate, Google Translate, all these services, the OneDrive, and all the other ones that we have mentioned previously. These are services that are available to the public, and you can access it and pay for it on demand. Then we have the private cloud. Private cloud is a cloud services that are basically for private use. This is the type of cloud services that you need in a very secured government organization. A government organization is not supposed to be using public clouds because public clouds are managed by cloud service providers who may not have your interest in terms of privacy at heart, basically. So, for example, uh, government organizations are not supposed to be using public cloud to store information. Because, of course, this information goes to somewhere when you store it. Where it goes? It goes to cloud data center. Now, the question is, where is this cloud data center located? In most cases, cloud data centers are not even located within the country. They are located in other countries. Now, the next thing is
For us,
what?
Doctor, for us, like also this Azure, I think the data center has to be in Qatar, like nothing goes out.
Excellent. So that means that this is called a private cloud. Okay, that's a private cloud. The example I'm trying to give is for public cloud. That's why I said government organizations are not supposed to be using public cloud because the cloud data centers are not stored within the country. So you have minimal control over what the company can do and what they cannot. Okay,
Doctor,
but
one drive, can it be like public cloud?
yes, it's a
Right.
public cloud.
Yeah. Okay.
OneDrive is a public cloud for sure. Then we have community cloud. Community cloud basically is a cloud service meant for community. The community can include a number of similar organizations. I'll give example like in Qatar, we may decide to have a community cloud for government schools. Now, how many government schools do we have? We have actually many of them. CCQ, HBKU, uh, Qatar University, UDST. Okay, so these are communities that have similar activities that they can actually do. So you can have one single community cloud for this number of similar organizations. Again, you can have a community cloud for government ministries, Ministry of Interior, Ministry of Transport, and all the government ministries can be under the same community cloud. In a situation where you have a number of these models used together, this is called a hybrid cloud. Hybrid cloud can include some aspect of it being private clouds, some other aspects being public cloud, and probably you may have some community clouds in it. So this is called a hybrid cloud. For more explanation, you can read through this. Okay, private clouds, you can use
Doctor,
private clouds for government agencies now.
sorry for interrupt you. Just I have one question. What we mean by private cloud? That means like if we have an organization, so they have يعني, only it's specifically for only for this organization, so no one can
Ex
access this.
exactly, excellent. So the main idea about private cloud is basically privacy.
So it's
Okay,
managed only by the organization itself, not by third party or like someone else out of the organization.
exact, exactly. In a private cloud, the cloud service is private only to the organization that owns it. Okay, so the organizations that owns it will be the one to manage it. They will be the ones to operate it. And any other person that is not part of the organization cannot be accessed, cannot be have access to this service. So this is called private. You understand? National
Yeah.
Cybersecurity Agency, they can have their own private cloud and no any person can access it, but they can actually use it within the organization. Their staff can use it, but other people outside of the organization cannot. So this is private cloud.
Okay, and for the thing that Microsoft want to do to to get all the information, all the data, to store it in the cloud. So this is, I think this is not secure way to يعني, to store our data, right?
Now, this is the thing, okay?
So this is will be
Um,
public or private.
no, it depends, okay? For example, you can actually have an agreement with Microsoft to come and establish for your organization a private cloud. Okay, so if they install every facilities for you, the data center, okay, train your staff on how to operate and manage the data centers, how to configure the privacies, everything, then it becomes a private cloud, but you actually bought the equipment maybe from Microsoft. Okay, so you can actually have a private cloud, but the facilities you bought from a certain company. like the example you just gave, like Microsoft. However, if you are buying the service from Microsoft, from part of their public cloud, then it becomes like public. For example, Microsoft 360, you are buying the service directly from them, then it's public. It's no longer private because Microsoft 360, the server is not in the country, it's somewhere in Europe and of course in some of the servers in America. So you don't have control. The reason why this is important is because of litigation issues and privacy issues. In most cases, even the countries that you have the best of relationship with, only time can define the extent to which that relationship can actually go. So in case if there is any dispute between these countries, you will not be happy that information stored by your agency is now residing in another country. So that's the risk of using public cloud. And that is why for sensitive organizations that deals with privacy and deals with important security issues, government policy is you cannot use public cloud if you are a staff of that organization. So basically you have to use um, private cloud for any government work or to store any communication or documents that are related to government. But for your own personal use, it's okay. You can use the Google OneDrive or any other public cloud service. It's okay. But for the purpose of government work, most organizations that take security and privacy at the heart of their operations, they will not allow their staff to have even access because all public cloud services will be blocked from on their network. So you simply only have access to private cloud services. Yes, Ali.
Yes, yes, I get the point now.
Yes, so uh, in a situation where you have a combination of both clouds, private and public services, this is called hybrid, as I mentioned. In a situation where you have similar organizations that operate similar operations, trying to have the same type of cloud service, this is community cloud. Like the example I gave, you can have all government ministries under the same cloud service. So this can be like Qatar government network. Or you can have like colleges or universities in Qatar under the same cloud service. So this is community cloud also. But for Microsoft, sorry, not Microsoft, for the Huawei, they recognize according to their technology, they recognize only three types of cloud service. So basically what I did was I tried to get the general information from Qatar's policy on cloud services. So this slide is not part of the Huawei. This slide is not part of Huawei, it's from the government document policy on cloud. So then I come back to the Huawei documents. For Huawei, they recognize only three models, deployment models. They recognize public, they recognize private, and they recognize hybrid. So the community cloud is not recognized as far as Huawei is concerned. But other companies like Cisco, yes, they recognize such a model. So cloud deployment models also, uh, these are good examples. You can have deployment models related to transportation, okay? This could be a public cloud related to financial cloud. This is more fitting. You can simply use the private cloud. Also for healthcare, I believe healthcare, yes, you can use for for private cloud, also a combination of private cloud and public cloud services, which is called hybrid cloud. So cloud service models, the models for services. Now, I want to emphasize there's difference between deployment models and service models. Deployment models are the ones we mentioned: public, private, and hybrid, or include community. That's deployment models. But service models for cloud are software as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service. These are the three important service models for cloud. For each textbook that you read, you will see that these three will be mentioned first before any other one will be mentioned as part of their service models. So what is software as a service? So software as a service basically is a situation whereby softwares can be accessed online, okay? And then you can use it for a period of time that you want to use it, and then you can pay for it after using it. For example, I know of a software that costs close to maybe 100,000 Qatari riyals. One software. Can you afford it? For example, to buy it and use it for senior project only? Can you?
What, Doctor?
I said, I know of a software that can cost up to 100,000 Qatari riyals. So now Ali is writing senior project and he needs to use this software. Can you afford it? Only to do senior project and finish. And that's it, halas. It doesn't make sense, you know, to
Yes.
spend 100,000 Qatari riyals for a work that you simply want to use for 3 months only and finish halas. It makes no sense. So therefore, since we don't have the money to waste on a project that will last only for 3 months, what is the next option? The next option is to use software as a service. The software as a service will means that we will pay for the period of time we're gonna use the software only. And this software will be somewhere online in the cloud. We only need to open our browser and log into the cloud service, use the software. When we finish our work, we pay for the period of time that we have used it. And that means we will only maybe 10 to 20 reals and we finish our work, that's all. This saves a lot, you know? So basically, this service is accessible online. The software itself is not going to be installed on your device, no. Rather, you will simply use a browser, okay, and an internet, and then the software will be open, and then you can use it. So this software as a service, they are providing for us software for which we will use for a period of time. And when we finish halas, we pay for the time that we have used that one. Now, the next one is platform as a service. Platform as a service basically is programming platform. There are a lot of programming platforms and tools now that are online as a cloud service. That also include hardware configuration, storage, and network services. Okay, this can be more of basically. Let me just concentrate on discussing about platform as a service as programming platforms, basically, especially for Python. Now, a lot of libraries that you can get online, and some are actually based on from a service providers, cloud service providers. Also, the Microsoft Azure also is another programming platform. They have this service that they can provide programming platform, and you can develop applications on the platform with it. So this is called platform as a service. The next one is infrastructure. Infrastructure is the commonest one that we use, like storage, processing, and networks. I'll give you example of infrastructure. You develop a website, you will need to have a web server where you will host your website so that other people can access it, right? But now, web server, yes, you can buy a single system and make it a web server and keep it running in your house. And this system is a system where you are actually hosting your website. Now, the problem is, if the system goes off, your website cannot be accessible by others. This is not a good way. CCQ have a web server where they host most of their applications and their website and everything. They have to keep it running also for as long as possible. They cannot afford to allow it to go down. If it goes down, all the people that need to access the services that are being hosted by this web server will not be able to access it. This is also not a good way. Now, there's the best way. The best way is to use infrastructure as a service. We can simply borrow a server from somewhere and host our website in it. We don't even want to know where the server is. We only know it's a cloud server, basically. So I used to have like some websites that I used to host. I simply put them on a cloud server and I continue with my life. I don't need to think about keeping the facility of a web server running. No, it's already managed by the cloud. And my website will be running as much as I'm sleeping in my house and enjoying myself without thinking about managing the web server. So this is another very good way. Infrastructure as a service can give you services such as operating system services, storage services, deployment of applications like the web applications that I mentioned. Also, deployment of mobile applications that we have now in Google Store. Is it Google Store? What is it called? Um, Apple Store,
Well,
and the other one for Android is called what? Apple Store and
iCloud.
yeah, no, not the iCloud. The store that we use for Android to download applications. Subhanallah. Yeah. So if you want to download an application using an Android phone, you download it from where?
I think Google Play or
Play Store.
yeah, Play Store. Yes, yes.
Exactly. So a Play Store is another infrastructure provided to you in order to install your mobile app, users can go to the Play Store and download your mobile app and they can use basically. So these are all infrastructures for cloud services. So people actually use it as a service for cloud. So this is another service. But it's worthy of mention at this point that actually these are not the only cloud services, okay? But these are the most important ones. All other ones that comes later, they are built based on these models. So it's a combination of these models, like we have now game as a service. Game as a service is also a cloud platform that provide games as a service, okay? We have other ones, different other names. But all these are built on these three platforms, basically. So now we have SaaS, mostly for end users, PaaS for application developers, and IaaS for network architectures. This is what we just explained now. SaaS, software as a service, is where users basically get a software that is probably very expensive, but now they want to use it for a period of time and then they can simply use it. PaaS is the application development, basically for programming platform. This is where application developers need the service of application development. Basically, you can use the PaaS. For network services or network architecture, like borrowing a server, as I mentioned, this is infrastructure, basically. So you can borrow a server and configure your website on it, and then that's it. You can borrow other network services also, including broadband storage and things like this. All these are infrastructure. So mostly for network architectures.
Doctor,
Yeah, so now,
I'm sorry. I have to leave now because my class will start in a few minutes.
it's okay. We have like just 3 slides, okay, so you can leave, no problem.
Sorry, thank you, Doctor. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. So this is the traditional model. Okay, the traditional cloud model simply have applications, data, runtime environment, middleware, operating system, visualization, compute resource, storage resources, network resources, all part of the in-house traditional cloud service. But for the model of infrastructure, it provides for you visualization, compute resource, storage, and networks. While for platform as a service, ours, we have runtime environment, we have the middleware, we have the operating system, visualization, compute resource, storage resources, and network resources. For software as a service, basically this is application based. So it contains all the other resources that we require in the cloud service. Yeah, so these are the things. Any question?
No, exactly.
So you can try these services. I mean, you can try these questions. Okay, which of the following services offered by Huawei Cloud public falls into category of SaaS? So these are some examples. Also, we have another question. The measurable service characteristics of cloud computing means that users pay for how long and how much they use the cloud service. True or false? This is
True.
true. Yeah. So you can try other questions. Describe what cloud computing is. We have done that. Describe the brief history of cloud. We have done that. List of a few use cases of cloud computing. We gave some use cases. Describe the characteristics of cloud. Cloud is elastic, resource pooling. All these are some of the examples, scalability and things like this, okay? Yeah, so if you want to have more information, you can check through the link provided here. Yep, that's the end of the slides. Thank you.